A banged-up motor carriage lies half-submerged in the icy water, slowly sinking into the Elysium Ocean. Only the cabin top, rear wheels, and the engine remain visible. It must be cold and lonely down there, in the icy water. The seawater has already started to corrode the metalworks. Remember the tire tracks in Martinez? This is where they were leading. The motor carriage sits in the salty ocean water, cold and sad. It doesn't have an opinion. A seagull takes off from the half-submerged machine. It's almost like the bird is acknowledging your decision. You get a sudden sinking feeling. Stomach acid comes up as you look at the motor carriage in the deep, dark, cold water. Why the doom and gloom? It's just a sunken motor carriage. Some motor carriages are bound to end up in the sea. The motor carriage is properly stuck in the ice. Getting it out would require a team of specialists. A single day in the salty seawater would ruin most vehicles, but this one looks worn even in places the salt water hasn't touched it. The logo is too deep in the murky water. You can't make it out, but you do see a monkfish float by. The accident couldn't have happened too long ago. The ice hasn't closed up around the vehicle, so the crash must have happened last Saturday or Sunday. The estimate is correct. The incident probably occurred on Sunday evening. Although the sunken motor carriage is probably flattered by you addressing it, it does not supply an answer. Wait for the low tide. Then you should be able to access the cabin. As you sit down in the old rusty playground, the world around you becomes very silent. Nothing but the sound of seagulls high above in the sky, echoing like distant laughter. Ice cracks around the blue motor carriage in the sea. The tune on your lips forms a strange yet undeniably beautiful contrast with the surrounding bleakness. It's sad that no one and nothing but the sunken vehicle is here to witness it, but the unexpected beauty of the tune lifts your spirits nonetheless. The clouds pass in the sky, and the shadow of the swing moves like the hour hand on a timepiece. 30 minutes have passed. Looks like this might take a while. Time to present a good topic for discussion. Dreaming, drinking, fucking, fighting, trying to improve their lives, wishing for a better tomorrow. It's unclear whether the sunken vehicle agrees or not, but merely uttering these words gives you the illusion of time speeding up. Just like how the crazy daredevil piloting that vehicle must have accelerated into the sea. Clouds on the horizon grow darker, and the shadow of the swing set keeps climbing. You hear the distant rumble of the city. 30 minutes pass. Yes, it is. It feels as the city behind you grows silent in the waiting. Seems like an eternity has passed. A dim light scatters from the cloud cover above the city. In it, you can see the blue and white motor carriage slowly appear from the water, centimeter by centimeter, as the sea recedes. It's a Caprice 40, a workhorse of the motor park, favored by the working men, government offices, firefighters, I guess, maybe animal control people. You know, those kind of people.
Yes, number 41, as in precinct 41. Come on, man. That's our ride.
I'm so sorry, Harry. A massive pit opens up in your stomach, and the most terrible feeling comes over you. No, just no. Say no to this, Harry. Yes, Harry, you did. The sooner you accept it, the sooner you can move on. Keep moving. You're a shark. You stop, you die. You are not. We don't. After losing every single thing you were entrusted with, I wouldn't hold my breath. An aggressive-looking seagull lands on the swing set and stares at you with a murderous look. You really need to keep moving. A police badge on which you see the photo of a man. You. Some seaweed is stuck to the back. The man in the photo looks at you solemnly. Encased between two durable plastic sheets is a bluish card with lines of information and a watermark in the shape of the street grid of Revachol West. You see a photo, a name, a rank, a document number, the date of issue, and, in the lower right corner, your precinct. man keeps winking at you with his green-grey eyes. The photo is old, no doubt about that. But the badge is new. You used an old photo for a new badge. Good choice. A newer photo would look different. 8, maybe 10 years. The guy in the picture is rather good looking. He's got a nice haircut and is distinctly lacking in massive sideburns. What do you think? His face is already contorted by the expression, although it looks less grotesque on him than it does on you now. The badge in your hand shines as you rotate it, catching light. You see lines of information on it and a shining watermark. This document confirms it. Harrier Dubois, i.e., Harry is really your name. That's what it says on the badge. No more information is provided. You should look at the badge when Lieutenant Kitsuragi is around. He could help you make sense of all this. The badge in your hand shines as you rotate it, catching light. You see lines of information on it and a shining watermark. Revachol, Jamrock, Precinct 41. You don't remember what the numbers in the middle mean. The badge was issued roughly 4 months ago. A new document is given to you as part of a promotion or when you lose the old one. The number shows that this badge belongs to an officer of the 41st Precinct. The badge in your hand shines as you rotate it, catching light. You see lines of information on it and a shining watermark. There's no way to listen to the tape without a working tape player or portal reel at hand. But even just holding the tape makes you feel a little sad. A pawn shop would have a tape player. only a red chair. Just a red chair in an empty shack, with what looked like a dusty bow tie on the shelf. Nothing to see here, right? You sit on the wind-worn wooden planks of the bench. Your feet ache.
Hi, officer. Anything I can help you with? A fishing village on the seashore. This place doesn't really have a name. It's sometimes called Elysium. The sign on the street leading here is illegible. Has been since they built this place. The name is Lillian. People call me Netpicker. I think I have time for questions, and that was actually the second one.
Indeed, you're always confused as to your whereabouts. Ask her about the cool sword. Helps to break the ice.
Unfortunately, the factory sold this one with a 3-year warranty instead of a story. It's to intimidate folks, mostly. It's a regular mass-produced sword, like a shovel or an axe. Nothing fancy, just for intimidation. From time to time, people need a lesson in respect. That's just the way it is. Back in the day, I caught the eyes of many men. And believe me, men need a lesson in manners from time to time. No, I'm afraid not. Tempting to confiscate the blade I used to keep these animals in check. You would put me in an early grave.
She's making a joke. Her voice softens.
What makes you think we haven't? The truth is that almost everyone in this life is scared and tired and stupid and too dull for that. That goes for men too. But they put on an act for us. Pretend like everything's good and living in shit doesn't bother them. Like anyone falls for that. No one wants to talk about how frightened they are. But only frightened people are really dangerous. And plenty of them are dangerous. Some went to patch their wounds, their lesson learned. Others were more thick-headed. And one of them, I ended up marrying. Guess I enjoyed the way he bled.
If it is, then why the melancholy?
Gone. To the waves. The sea took him. It was a long time ago. He didn't respect the sea. Went out there, drunk like a skunk, and sure enough, one day the boat was found floating empty. A bloated corpse turned up 2 weeks later. Now, before you tell me how sorry you are for my loss, know that it was 4 years ago, and I've moved on. There's only so much mourning you can do for a drunk with sinewy muscles. Us working folk don't have the luxury to be bedsick with melancholy. I buried him, mourned for an appropriate amount of time, and went on. Life didn't really change that much for me and the kids.
This is neither a touchy nor a very interesting topic for her.
Do it! Hit on the widow! It's the right thing to do!
Sure is. The sun, I call her, coated with a fresh layer of tar just yesterday. It'll take some time for it to dry, assuming the sunny days continue. Like I said, fish mostly. Sail the waves, take care of the kids, pick nets. Right now I'm tarring a little skiff. I sell the fish to people in the Delta to serve at their fancy restaurants. Authentic insular Indian cuisine. Sometimes I also walk to the beach to see what the sea has given up. The sea is full of surprises.
Keep it professional, man. Don't make it sound like you're hitting on her. This is what is called a conversation. You don't have to be guarded right now.
Wood, pieces of glass. Every once in a while we see dead bodies. Human, animal, fish, other odd sea creatures. A mine washed ashore once. Bottles, drugs also. Lost cargo in general. Most of the time it's just wood and glass.
All right. Major choice moment. You only get to ask one thing. It would be weird to say them all. Choose wisely.
And go where? The fish are plentiful here and we get enough orders to get by. It's not great, but it's something. Exactly. I don't mean to complain about my sad, pauper life. We do manage all right. We're tough people here.
She would like to complain. She would like that very much. But she can't, and she won't. Though, has gotten her this far, and she's not given it up.
Let's see. Who are you looking for? I don't think I know what these are. Care to elaborate? Aha! Like snowmen. Two old guys have been wandering around here, nose in sand, talking nonsense about snowmen and the like. Right. Not only snowmen, also green men, monkey men burning rhinos. You get the picture.
Oh, you're getting it. And it is gorgeous.
Don't really know. Further down the peninsula, I guess. I mean, that's where they were heading. Who else are you looking for besides snowmen? Yeah, I'm not really looking for that anymore. Not much into the middle class ones either. Could do with some landed gentry, but apparently they don't make those anymore. Wish I could help you with that, but I haven't seen your working class husband. Maybe I can help you find someone else.
She seems genuinely sorry for not being able to help you.
Well, how can I assist you then, officer? Oh? Well, how can I assist you then, officer?
You're not sure about the melody, but it might be South Samaran, possibly Sigayan, also known as the apricot sujunti.
Welcome to the fishing village. Please lean in closer. I have cataracts. Oh, welcome, police officer. We don't cause any trouble around here. And we don't want any trouble either. Oh, of course. Last time we saw you around here was 12 years ago. You also came to take care of trouble then. Wish you did. But still, in Martinez, you're considered an ill omen. No, not you personally. I meant the RCM. Some of the men got into a fight. One of them killed another, locked himself in that woodshed over there. He was brooding, needed some help opening the door. You got it open for him and took him to think about what he'd done in a more secluded place, somewhere more quiet.
She says it as if he was on some kind of spiritual retreat.
Oh, the usual. Dark tidings. Black hound.
That's you, all right. A black hound licking your own heels.
Maybe they are afraid. Because you're an ill omen, but you're still welcome here, as long as men with guns aren't chasing you. And maybe even then, because that's the kind of fishing village we've built. I'm sorry there's not a lot of room to park the motor carriage, and not a lot of houses, or a lot of people. My kids are long gone, searching for treasure. So are others. Ah, look at me ramble on. What brings you to us? Me? No one. Just an old washerwoman. Mother called me Isabel, if that's what you're asking. And my married name is Sadie. Now it's your turn, Mr. Quite a handle you got there. So many titles. One of them double. Just us. It's barely a village anymore. We almost don't exist. This is pretty much a non-place. A gap, a blank spot on the map, just a cluster of nameless shacks on a nameless street.
The place is so pornographically poor, it's not even funny.
Over there, you can find more of the same. Shacks and trees growing wild. That's the pox. An old military hospital and its surroundings. Or it used to be, during the time of the suzerain.
The old woman shakes her head slowly. She drops the rag into the bucket. It's clean now.
Now the area is crisscrossed with nameless streets and makeshift cinder block houses, shacks as far as the eye can see. The goodwill ran out. The staff left and the place was shut down. It's long gone by now. Well, there's Lillian and her kids. A few new folks live in the house to the east, but they are away right now. And then there's the drunks. Not a pretty sight, but there's little we can do about it. Home is home, even for them. Lillian is tough. Tougher than the men here at least. If it wasn't for her and the kids, this place wouldn't have a spark of life left. Sooner or later, you'll see for yourself. Don't have to look long to find these guys. Here, for you? No, officer. The only money we have here is some coins the drunks tried hiding from their women and then forgot about.
She nods, rinsing another piece of cloth.
Not much. There's the abandoned church, the DeLorean Church of Humanity. It's been there since before my time, even. Some things just don't fly, officer. Look around. Who'd go to church here? They built it 300 years ago. Must have been nicer then. The ecclesiastics have tried to get things going there, but things just keep happening. Crime, accidents, other things. The place never stays open. It's a pity. It used to be such a nice church.
She's not telling you all she knows. Keep her talking.
Well, there's that music from across the sea. Huh. It started a few days ago, and now it's blasting even through the night. And now, suspicious-looking people are sneaking around the church. I don't like that.
Interesting. You could look into this ruckus if you have the time. Perhaps the mysterious music is somehow connected to the case. A rusalka or a half-demonic apsara singing.
Before you get to the church, there's some ruins, an apartment complex, or some kind of electrical plant. Run-down bunch of houses, empty. Of note, the old fish market up on the boardwalk, but it's closed. What? You're one of those real estate people with big plans? If you want a development opportunity, you can check out the abandoned building over at Land's End. Used to be a supply depot, we think, sending goods and ammo across the bay. It's jammed shut though. We tried to get in, see if there was anything to sell or scavenge, but it's impossible. And now you know everything there is to know about this coast. Stay? Most people here are trying to leave. That said, if lodgings is what you're looking for, I've got a free room in the shack. I won't charge you for it. Take it as a gesture of goodwill from the village to the RCM. No one is using it, and God knows it's not much anyway. You can stay there. Don't make an old woman regret opening her house to the place.
The door has seen better days. The layer of paint has started to peel off due to the salt and wind from the sea. Even the lock looks slightly rusted. The key turns with a satisfying click. You can enter the shack now. On the table, you see a bowl of water, a rough soap, and next to it, a small hand mirror. A straight razor soaks inside the wash basin. The water reflects back a vague image of your face. Nose bulbous and red, hair unkempt, wrinkles lining the eyes and forehead. The stash is gigantic. A fresh start looms ahead. Clean yourself up and be born anew. old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, adorned with the expression. The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer?
Hello, mister.
She clutches a small stuffed animal. Occasionally, she twirls it around.
It's Lammy. He's my friend. Sort of. Like...
Lambie is a stuffed lamb that, admittedly, has seen better days. One of the eye buttons is missing, and the fur is tattered in several parts.
Yes. Very soft. Isn't he soft? It's a grouse.
You might be able to get on Gart's good side if you make up for the skewer you broke.
Sure. I mean, you already took it. I don't like it anyway. It looks angry. Yes, I am. Little Lily. You know my mom? That's nice. My mum is great. She's never angry or anything. Oh, I had gloves. Very big ones. Heavy, too. Found them when Lemmy and I were playing hide and seek. In an empty house. Where no one lives. I think someone hid them there.
She doesn't want you to think she stole them.
I hid them. The twins were going to take them. They're stupid. Why? Oh. They're in my sandcastle. Behind our house. Under the sand. You can break the castle. It's not very good. Bye!
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone. He can't be more than 5 years old. The other one looks indistinguishable from him. He watches his brother kick the stone with his tongue lolling out of his mouth. This one doesn't say anything, kicking the concrete with his worn-out sneaker.
Lily's our mum.
The stone kicker laughs suddenly. His head is too large for his shoulders. The other one laughs as well. Maybe there's some kind of reason why they're laughing. An interesting reason, somehow tied to the case. The boy stops laughing and looks at his toes.
Yes. Yes.
The stone-kicking one becomes frantic all of a sudden, as if that's something to be scared of. The obvious fact that you just stated.
He looks just like me.
The boy doesn't answer. His brother throws another rock. Both of their hair is covered in some kind of dirt. The rock kicker was just being shy, but now he's enthusiastic again. You stop mid-step and put your hand on the garish necktie.
That bottle, Bratan! Just look at that bottle! You should care! I'm getting a very special vibe from that bottle. Please go talk to him. I need to look at it closer.
noxious odor emanating from the drunken man is strong and familiar.
Don't you call her? Yeah! Don't call Abigail! Abigail. Don't you fucking call Abigail.
Abigail is his wife or girlfriend. Chances are she's gone. Calling her wouldn't make it any better or worse. You're not going to get anything out of this guy. He's too drunk.
Don't call Abigail!
The man hiccups, then mumbles something unintelligible. He snorts and beckons you to lean in closer.
Don't call Abigail. Don't call Abigail. Don't you fucking call her. Hear me? Abigail?
The drunk man starts coughing a really disgusting, hacking cough.
Don't call. Don't call. Don't call her.
There's no waking him from his stupor. His mind is elsewhere.
Hey, tequila! Good to see you. How's business? How's the whole reality situation treating you? So what's happening? Yeah, tequila sunset. How are the, high-concept, reality-based adventures proceeding?
He says it like it's obviously your name. Like you call someone Billy Brunel or leader of the 4th Street Gang. Good. These people know your true name. Looks like it has preceded you, Mr. Sunset. More on that later.
I like this guy. You should too. He respects you by calling you your true name.
It's good to hear that you're on top of things. Talking about used to, did you know that I used to be a real mover and shaker? Sadly, things aren't going that well in Idiot Doom Spiral Land. Haven't found those keys yet, haven't won that great piece of ass back. No word from my business buddies.
This guy's your buddy. You feel it immediately. You belong to an organization, a fraternity of drunks. Idiot Doom Spiral, huh? This is bound to be a good, high concept conversation. At last.
We are saving the world.
Please. Please don't go. Don't go.
Okay, we're drinking. We're drinking alcohol. That's what we're doing. I tried to save the world once, a long time ago, with enterprise, creativity, and willpower. But that didn't work out. So now, it's a pirate's life for me. It's you. You're Tequila Sunset. We've met before. Don't you remember?
No, you sure don't.
Maybe. You look like you want to know how Tequila Sunset came to be. You look like you want to hear the tale.
Tequila. Tequila Sunset. Something ominous there.
Let me take a sip to moisten up my chords. Tequila Sunset rolled into Martinez last Friday. And by Tequila Sunset, I mean you. The man, the myth. Hey, let's not jump ahead of ourselves. This is your story. Stop interrupting. You got here on Friday to solve a case, hoping to be the early bird who gets the worm. And by the worm, I mean the buzz. Because as far as I know, all you did was get pissed drunk. Word on the street is you went around the local hostel telling people that you're a police officer, and that it would be really fucked up if you shot yourself in the head right in front of them. That's pretty high concept, if you ask me.
It is.
It was a late Saturday night when we, the Union of Moribund Alcoholics, were getting our drink on. Nothing remarkable about this. We get our drink on 24/7. Makes everything warm and glowy. I trust you know the feeling.
Oh, yes, you do, Bratushka. The only thing better than that is putting the pedal to the metal after you kiss the time. And off we go.
One moment we hear the sound of a motor carriage revving up somewhere on the plaza, followed by a series of dings and bangs.
Do you remember the sound of wood cracking? The billboard?
Naturally, loud noises pique the interest of anybody owning a pair of ears. That's just the reality we're in. Anyway, there was a brief silence, a gasp of silence, if you will, followed by a real commotion. We heard the carriage careening towards the coast at top speed. Sounded like someone jumped the canal. We grabbed our brewskis and rushed to the jetty. Never underestimate the speed of an alcoholic. What we saw was a sight to behold. A beat-up police carriage containing you. Right there on the beach. You revved the engine and screamed at the top of your lungs. "The time hath come!" So, naturally, being the curious cat I am, I asked what time hath come, to which you replied, "The time hath come for Tequila Sunset, the end of all things." Your reality contracted. You jammed the pedal, plowed right off the jetty, and through the ice. We ran towards the ice, whilst you crawled your way out, miraculously unhurt, covered in seaweed and shit, like some kind of sea monster. When we finally got there, you were sitting on the beach crying. You said that your badge and uniform were in the car. It was too late to get in there, though. The carriage had sunk too deep.
In this way, you and your motor carriage have a lot in common.
Recognizing a brother in need, we offered our condolences and invited you to party with us, which you naturally agreed to. We asked about the whole tequila sunset thing, and you told us it was your name now and insisted that we all call you that from then on. Yeah, I agree. Hours. It was an all-night drink-a-thon. Then, at some point, I think it was Sunday morning, you got belligerent and wanted to talk about Revacholian women. How they're beautiful and also whores and so on. How one of them fucked you real bad. After a short while, you crossed the event horizon, looked sullen, got up, and left without saying anything. It was the greatest thing this fishing village has seen since Rosemary tried to use a crab to open his beer.
Aye, that was a classic too.
You were pretty vague about it, but you kept saying you got fucked real hard, and that we've all been fucked too.
Please, don't open that door.
No one's fucked me. I do the fucking around here.
Abigail!
It seemed pretty painful, to be honest with you. If I had to guess, I'd say you're still working through some shit. Beside your gun and your badge, you said something about your hope or heart or something. To be honest, the details are a little hazy. In retrospect, I guess you lost your motor carriage too? That's a big one. You told us that they were a bunch of fucking losers whose main interest was cramping your style.
It's more like you were cramping theirs.
No specifics, though. It was more about you that night. You were the star of the show. Yeah, you said it was no biggie and that you'd solve it in no time. And that you didn't need anyone to do it. You're doing it solo now. You kept calling yourself a goddamn superstar who'd cleared 501 cases.
As you've already determined, the actual number is just over 200. But what's a little embellishment between friends?
No thanks to the squares at the precinct, as you put it. It's a hard thing for a man to confront his past. That's why I avoid mine at all costs. Whoop-de-doo. So now I'm a fucking storyteller. Right, why not? Better than a beach bum. It depends, really. Are you willing to help me out?
You might get scammed here.
No, the reality of the situation requires a rather modest contribution. A little motivational package. Booze! Did you already forget our party? The thing I relayed to you earlier. So, have you got anything for good old idiot Doom Spiral? A bottle for a story. Seems fair to me. Classy.
Hey, Spiral Boy, you gonna share that?
Shut up, guys. I'm telling a story here. Something happened to you. Something happened to me, too. My actual name is George. But around here, you already know. I was once a reasonably high net worth individual. A founder/junior partner at a high concept creative services agency. When my story begins, I had just landed a major contract with an insurance firm. I used the profits from my agency to finance what I called a cultural incubator. Abstract value generation, value per person, high concept stuff. I developed the paradigm, worked within the paradigm, but the burden of leadership weighed heavily on me. So I went jogging every so often to keep myself sane. It did. With my trusty Sansarique tracksuit, I felt like I could conquer the world. But now dreams are worn thin, much like my tracksuit. One day I left on my evening run. As you may know, it's impossible to clear your head when you're distracted by the sound of keys jangling in your pockets.
His eyes are clouded, his dilated blood vessels encircling his irises like stinging brambles. His eyes are your eyes.
So I removed the key ring and put the keys for the front gate and the apartment into different pockets to stop the jangling, you see. At least, that was the plan. I was halfway done with my usual lap when it started to rain. The reality situation became very wet, very quickly. Wet, okay? It was raining really hard. I made my way back home and discovered that I didn't have the key to the front gate. I'd mixed it up with the key to the letterbox, which was useless. Naturally, the situation required me to climb over the gate, which I did. There was no climbing down because I slipped and landed on my ass. Reality was looking rather grim just then. Me lying on my ass in a mud pit in the middle of a heavy shower. But when life knocked me down, I always got up. So I made my way across the yard. Standing in front of my apartment door, fumbling with my pockets, I realized that I'd also forgotten my apartment key. I rang my neighbor's buzzers. It was late, and most of them didn't even answer. Those who did assumed I was trying to sell them something and hung up before I could even explain the situation. People are naturally wary of ad men, you see. One moment someone chats you up, 5 minutes later you've bought a box of edible lingerie and a strap-on. I don't begrudge them, especially since I was known to be one of the best.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Just then, I experienced a moment of clarity. I still had the key to my office. I could wait out the storm there. But when I reached my office, I remembered that I'd asked one of my producers to change the locks that day. And since I hired only the best, he'd already done it, and I couldn't get in. Anyway, long story short, life spiraled out of control. I haven't gotten into my apartment for years, and my girlfriend left me because she didn't want to date a homeless man. The company, well, you see where I'm going with this. So, now you've heard my tragic tale. What do you think? Like nothing you've ever heard, huh? Tequila, I've thought about this series of events for a long time. If there was anything else to it, I would have thought of it by now. Yeah, maybe I've exaggerated certain parts over the years. When you tell a story too often, it begins to take on a life of its own. But what matters is that it's true to my subjective experience. Anyway, that was all the story one bottle gets you. Almost empty, this one.
Truly, he has the soul of an artist.
You too, Tequila Sunset.
Good to see you, friend. Do I have deals set up for you, buddy boy? So what do you want? I got smokes. They're cheap. Very cheap. I got Pilsner. Great deal. You won't get a better deal on that piss. Spirits I can let go for 300 real. I also have speed. And by speed, I mean amphetamine.
See? There it is, Bratushka! The spirit! Let's buy the spirit! 300 real is a lot, but this has to be done! It's our end game! Bratan, you don't understand! It's not just another drink! This is what our relationship has been building towards all these years! This is the climax! The mystery! The virginal sigh! You have to buy it from him! Get it off him! Kill him if you have to! Our ultimate fate depends on it! And the fate of many worlds.
Aye, by amphetamine I mean speed. Aye, that's what I said. Good, my man. Now what can I offer you? Oh, the system's been good to old Rosemary here, and I'm milking her like a bitch goat in the backyard. You see, friend, man makes his own luck, and I made mine real good. Got my hands on 3 bottles of liquor exquise, sold 2 to the fellows around here, and immediately invested the profit. Bought cigarettes, bought beer, even bought a bit of speed. And look at me now. I got everyone on my hook.
The hook. Where is it? I can't see it.
Of course. It is what it is, you know. What it's always been. People, buddy boy. It's the people. See, friend, it's real valuable. Worth every real, if you catch my drift. Got it from a bit of a business venture. You know, it's funny, actually.
He's finding it difficult to focus his watery gaze.
What?
Keep him talking.
This guy.
Conversation might bring a discount, no?
Oh, this is medicinal spirits. The good stuff. Got it from the doctor's office.
He ain't shitting you! Medicinal spirits are a blast, Bratan! The flaming truth of this joke of a world!
I got one of those scientific ampoules a few months ago. Torpedo, they call it. It's supposed to keep a man from taking a drink. Didn't stop me for shit, that's for sure. 5 lemons with half a pack of butter and you're good to go. It was. In a week, the goddamn kidneys started giving me all kinds of help. Finally, the missus took me to a private doctor's office. Not a charity, the real thing. Those arseholes charged me 4 real to remove the damn thing. But I came out on top after all. The idiots left me alone in there. Now, I used to teach high school biology. I know what doctors use to preserve dead fingers. It's like 3 cans of this blue medicinal stuff from the back room. Threw the snakes out and voila! What's left is this beautiful blue stuff. 98.7% almost pure alcohol. 2 I already sold to these fine gentlemen here. But this last one is yours for 3 real, if you want it. So what do you want then?
His tone is aggressive. You're getting on his bad side now.
In the civilized world, it's a custom to tip the shopkeep, friend. But come back anyway.
Our tenant, the
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer?
Weather has not been kind to Lily's little sandcastle. The once mighty towers are quickly eroding away. You can see something shining back to you from what must have been a vast underground catacomb network. A gust of wind disintegrates another piece of the cellar ceiling, exposing more of the mysterious glimmer underneath. The shithole's about to collapse. Smooth, reflective surface. Are these the gloves you're looking for? The walls and floors give way to the giant's greed, collapse and present you with a pair of ceramic gauntlets. As you fold your fingers into a fist, you realize you could knock anyone out with one punch. The white ceramic gloves wrap around your digits comfortably. Your movements cause tiny little clicks, like dice rolling somewhere far away, as the plates reorient to your motions. The hardened vitreous enamel, at once sleek and light, adds a glow to your cheeks and a spring to your step. Just imagine what a full suit of this stuff could do for you. You really do feel more confident. Invulnerability does that. Even partial invulnerability. Two, are you sure you're correct there? There was a helmet too. 3 pieces more like. You were ambitious. It may be a while before you have all the pieces. In the meantime, you should analyze the armor, figure out its vulnerabilities. Remember, this is a highly specialized kinetic redistributor meant to stop bullets. Wear it, observe its properties, see if there's a weakness in the design.
Hi, Ace Detective. Are you here for more books?
Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People. Okay, but please, only a few questions. You wouldn't want to disturb the spirits. Yes, the Simonees are very crafty, and their wards are extremely powerful. Lesser wards simply won't do here.
The woman looks aloof, her features much softer. Occasionally she glances at her daughter's silhouette.
A book about cockatoos? There should be one upstairs, right next to the shelf of biographies. Goodness, you were already doing good, browsing the shelves. Why'd you stop? Don't you feel compelled? Go, go! Get back there. The books await you. Everything is on the shelves. Take a look yourself. The shelves compel you, don't they?
She's attempting to mentally direct you towards the shelves. She only wants you to buy the goods. She doesn't care about the books.
Truth be told, not really. My sister brings in most of the goods. I'm sure it's all very literary stuff with well-written prose. But you don't learn about the important things in life from fabricated stories. I provide a valuable service. As long as people buy books, I'm fine. The truth is available if you just know where to look, and you have to open and free your mind to understand.
She smiles and nods, seemingly relieved. Several maps have been attached to a bulletin board hidden inside the alcove. They're held up by small pins. The board has come loose from one corner. The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches a map of Insulinda, a map of Revachol, and a map of Martinaise.
Always good to be informed of your surroundings.
The worn map features the patchwork grid of the streets of Martinaise, with directions to appropriately touristy locations. Year 48 resides on the upper right corner. Your finger moves through the various streets, across Rue de Saint-Ghislain and Rue Saint-Sipar, over Saint-Brun and Martinaise North. Finally, coming to a halt on the spot where you are currently standing, although the map gives no such indication itself. Wow, a very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from the other garb. Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of cabins engulfed in flames. Beneath him are the words, Hjelmdal burning. Smells like worn cotton and a little old sweat there. Worn cotton with a side of flea market or trash bin.
Sniffing is okay, but please don't try anything on. Can't have you leaving your photon emissions in the fabric of things you're not going to buy.
You're not imagining it. Photon emissions? What is he talking about?
Hell yeah, man. I don't usually carry printed teas, but this one was just pure exemplar. A fan? No, I wouldn't go that far. But I do think the Hjelmdalaman saga is an integral part of our shared reality. Most people don't think that the man from Hjelmdal really existed, but they're wrong. I mean, even if the man from Hjelmdal didn't exist before the adventure novels, the stories have made it so that he has. It's simple, really. Exactly. Cause and effect work in both directions. Besides, I've been to Kotla, though not quite as far north as the Hjelmdal, and watched northern lights travel across the sky. Very unique, energetic tides there.
His theory isn't exactly incoherent, but its logic does suggest some unusual neural activity. Interesting. Very, very unique energies indeed. Geomagnetic ley lines, one might even say.
2 real.
That's very cheap for a printed t-shirt that's still in pretty good shape.
But why? I deal in goods, not services. Hello again. How can I help you? Yes, fortunately, I still have it. 3:30 and it's yours. Here you go, officer. Anything else I can do for you today?
the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle. The concrete structure looks military in origin, over half a century old at least, but sturdily built. A metal payphone under a yellow plastic dome. You could use it to call someone, unless you're out of change. You hear the tone. The machine is inoperable. Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this railing. It smells really bad. The cloth, if you can still call it that, makes a soft crunching sound as you thrust your finger into it. It's streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled with pieces of seaweed. A dangling arm suggests that there might be a jacket beneath the crust of filth. It seems likely that it was left in the surf until someone laid it out on this fence to dry out. Unfortunately, that just seems to have stiffened it into a shapeless mass. The smell, it's awful and familiar. Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency, that faintly cloying sweetness. Only death smells like that. It is death. It must be. A sense of dread washes over you as you look ahead. There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin. 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter is all you find. No, there's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner bottles too. Better not pick them up. They seem unhygienic. Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra. Red Astra is the black market version of Astra cigarettes, known for their high tar content. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads Shish Kebab Revachol. It's no older than a day or two. No mold yet. It's hard to concentrate in the smell. The sea air brings some relief. There's some tear, an empty A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. The smell is Not as bad as a 2-week-old corpse, but it's definitely heading there. Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body. Breathe. He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. The leather jacket suits him well. It must be custom made. A cool leather jacket with a bolt of blue? Oh no, this sounds terribly familiar. You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into two. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand. The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. A bad fall. It might have been dark outside. This place is a minefield in the dark. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his mustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair, stout build. Age, approximately 50 to 60 years. He was confused when he died. Confused and alone, most likely. Overcome with the awful surprise of it all. He was just about to head home. The first step back home proved to be his last. That's what the chewing gum seems to point to as well. There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist. A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch. This is where he came out of himself, drop by drop, when he was unconscious. It took 3, maybe 4 minutes. They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was the cause of the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile. You see waves churning below. Something cracks beneath your feet. He could have easily disappeared into the sea through that hole, and you would have never found him. A .75-liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside. Grabowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall. The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too. Confirmed. Nearly the whole pack is there. Solidified on his lower rear teeth. The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back. First, you need to talk with the lieutenant, then report back to the station. This is too complicated to handle on your own.
notice the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with. You, officer, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I was just telling my son about this building. Not many people appreciate the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext. Yes, hypertext. Young Carp and the collection of cultural hyperlinks. Oh yes, so Mikhail. They had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago. So they didn't have windows on the south wall. Very important. Mikhail, say hi to the officer. Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into verbs lately.
The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor, or someone who's been on too many radio shows.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the coalition landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
This man is your half-brother. You feel it. But why? Well, get a load of this guy. He really enjoys his trivia. The Orbis programming language was named after its inventor, Victor Orbis, a cybernetician from Grad. They run Vox in the Occidental countries.
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building. What not a lot of people know is, this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
Hold on. What's R&D? It looks old and weathered, with seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth has taken hold of the collapsed rooftop. Some kind of bird has set up a nest on a broken windowsill.
Apologies, it's an acronym for research and development. They don't use it anymore. You're probably more familiar with RTD, Research and Technological Development.
Mea culpa. You are not familiar with that one either. This man is a bookhead.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains. They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve, or should I say they were developing an ace up their sleeve. I'm mixing my metaphors here. It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer. An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution, revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average consumer, which is a feat of engineering even today's giants, Rehm, ICN and ZAM, haven't achieved yet.
He assumes something like a combat stance, facing the wind.
Indeed. What?
The revolution!
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes, possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins. All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D. Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed in the war.
A wheel!
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation in cybernetics. But history had other plans. Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if you were to ask about tape computers...
Wait, is he saying that we should just bypass the excesses of the revolution?
Tape computers. They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases, the most notorious example being Le Décret de Mars. What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created Commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02.
A short-lived legislative foundation for a short-lived utopia.
It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album, Bon Baiser dans ce Lind. You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention.
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about this part of the discussion.
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware.
Buckle up.
10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Womty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Jews joined the team, trying to...
Wait, did he just say Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center? He did it. He said Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center, like it's the most natural thing in the world. What the hell is a Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Juiced?
The Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Arts. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to... In fact, I'm not. The Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center. But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. one could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing.
Made of black film and folding tape structures.
I certainly haven't. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionaries setting fire to this precious device. But so they did. The failed playback experiment vanished into the fires of '07. Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sources report it as the Felt Playback Experience, but those are incorrect. Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, they're all gone now. All 3 versions of the prototype. Nothing but debris and ashes remain inside that building. But of course, what else? Sure, what's on your mind? But of course, what else? I do have some money, yes, but that's not what's really important here.
He's not gonna give you money. What are you doing? Clearly you were just profiling. No, I mean, come on. You need the money. If it's not a thing, he can give you some.
Oh no, I don't have it on me, officer. I was talking in more general terms. I'm just spending time with my kid here, showing him around the lesser-known parts of our hometown. It wouldn't be wise to carry huge amounts of cash on such expeditions. No, thanks to you for having me and little Mikhail here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation indeed.
Pick your brain? If anything, this was rather one-sided. He did the talking. Whatever. You see, a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D. A slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago. Now, only a shadow of peeled letters remains. It says, "Tomorrow is just a whisper away."
Ah, yes, their famous motto. A fine example of technological optimism from...
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other. The density and spread of these bullet holes is surprising. This takes a lot of bullets, fully automatic rifle fire. That patch of reeds over there, it's a great place to hide something. Kind of out of the way, being so close to the water. Nothing. Just a hunch. The hunch passes, leaving you there, by the old boy bobbing in the water. Time to go.
Here we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this gem.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello.
His self-conscious enthusiasm renders his movements ungainly. He looks like your understanding of a scientist.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it. To what do I owe the pleasure?
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the 881. Oh, good. We should really be getting back. Gary could use a hot shower and a warm bed.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
This is a man possessed, always on the brink of some breakthrough. He won't leave if there's a sliver of hope. The great find might happen today.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we go in.
For all his passion, this man is diligent and patient. You could learn things from him.
I've just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of both.
He seems reluctant to talk about himself, but he'll open up if you prod a little.
It's not child's play, just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often. Real. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does. Indeed, my methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. And I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen. No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid, although I have come close. Close enough to keep trying. Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the phasmid. I keep a very open mind.
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration, not real research. And certainly not the truth. They're a cowardly lot, and both the field and basement archives can be dangerous places. No, very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name, cryptid. Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemney, which is 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes. 2 are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection. Yes, the Chateauquan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Yugograd, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. It's in a zoo somewhere. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching. Do you know what the success rate in pharmacological research is? 0.00003% of bioreactive agents have reproducibly beneficial effects. Yet science persists in the search for medicine, as we persist in our search for new species.
He has clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying his opinion.
Yes? Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find. which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it. Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators, or scientists in our present case. It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolve, without studying a live specimen.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. You're beginning to suspect there's something paranatural about this phasmid. A ghost insect, he said? These people are looking for a ghost.
No, that is precisely what we're not. We are zoological specialists, looking for an extant species of phasmid. I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm, so... Typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of of any cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defences, find out how it stayed hidden so long. Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts. Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid. I know it's real.
It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit of scientific advancement.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition.
What would it be like to grasp and hold on to something you think is next to you, or just behind you, like a trace of vapor you exhaled one spring morning as a child? This is what he's searching for. A spectre.
Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore. I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
He means asexual reproduction. The females of the species don't need to mate to produce viable eggs. This makes it easier for a species with a small population to survive.
Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, I'll try my best to remain dispassionate. Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick. Yes.
More than some, he admires this about her.
Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton. Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course, but we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects.
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm. A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely.
Yes. What? All right. What cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists, so I don't know what.
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides against it. You need to ask him about specific cryptids. Cryptids you've heard about from Lena or his friend Gary. He won't just talk.
By all means.
Hello, I'm Gary. How do you do, officer? I'm just waiting for my friend Morel to finish up with his insect traps so we can return to civilization. I like nature, just not this bloody coast. It's mostly drunks and degenerates that come here.
Degenerates? This man respects authority too much. To see the truth inscribed upon thine own visage. Pretend thou art a paragon of virtue.
Oh, I've been tempted. But someone has to stay strong for Revocol.
He pronounces Revocol with a hard K, unlike other people. Serious question time. This man is no innocent. No one is.
No. I help Morel with research sometimes, and I've learned some things along the way, but I don't usually go in for picnics like this on my own.
After all this time with Morel, he must have an opinion on cryptids. This could lead to a good one.
Oh, yes, the burning rhino. Morel doubts he's real, but I don't much care, because I won't be the one looking for him out in Safra Serai. A rhinoceros that looks ordinary during the day, but burns brightly by night. Well, at least the males do. They have special ducts just above their shoulder blades that secrete a combustible fluid. When the rhino is just beginning to light itself, it looks as though it has wings of fire.
But how is this combustible fluid lit?
The rhino starts running very fast to build heat, then stops, raises its head, and sparks fly from its neck, setting its back ablaze. Revacol used to be a flaming rhino once, a long time ago. The flames are not just for decoration. They are an integral part of the beast's mating behavior. During the burning rhino's mating season, herds of male rhinos, all aflame, encircle herds of female rhinos, forming a fiery ring as they begin to copulate loudly. Local peasants call it the passion ring. They fear the rhinos, as perhaps they should. Anyway.
It's clear the burning rhino is dear to him on many levels, some even spiritual.
I like to pronounce it the hard way, the old way, the Vespertine way.
He winks at you, trying to relay some hidden message, inviting you to mispronounce it too, perhaps. It's odd. It's a secret rite, a very fringe nationalist handshake, probably.
Oh, so that's what the RCM in Martinez is about. Great. Great to hear someone's finally taking care of that. No. Nothing. He was some kind of mercenary. But everyone here knows that. I'm just glad to hear you're looking into it. That's all.
He's not feeling very comfy in his clothes, is he? Strange. He didn't kill him or anything, but there's something going on here.
My mug? Why would you think that? How do you mean? Forgive me, officer, but we've only just met.
He is trying to avoid lying to you outright, in case you really have been to his apartment.
Okay, I admit it. I threw the mug away in the trash container behind the hostel. I know I shouldn't have, and I am very sorry, officer. You're not going to find me, are you? Okay, I deserve that. And I won't do it again. You have my word. I don't know what got into me. Stuffing my garbage in another man's property, I've been having trouble at work lately. The Quakos are price dumping us out of competition.
What did you do, Gary?
Nothing. Nothing. Just answering some questions. Helping out the law. I know a guy who works with the trash collection services, CS Municipal. He gave me a master key for the trash containers of Martinez. So I can use the Whirling's trash compactor to store my own stuff. Garbage disposal is expensive as hell. The damn Bohemians run it like a mob. I'm sorry, okay? I thought I could cut costs. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have disgraced myself. Officer, please, let me explain. It's not like that. I was only cleaning up. I live right across the yard from where he was hanged, and I saw him stripped naked. All the clothes lying around in the yard, smelling. People are animals, you know? Then I came out to clean up the rags because no one else would. I put them into the Whirling's trash, along with a broken mug, admittedly. Okay, I was coming to throw the mug away, and, well, I threw the mug there and the clothes too.
As he shifts uncomfortably, a series of clicks, like the clinking of glass beads against one another as they roll across a hardwood floor. You've heard this sound before, but where?
What sound? I haven't the slightest. There's lots of weird stuff out here in the reeds, though. Insects, trash. Could be the wind shifting some garbage nearby. What sound? Really? There's lots of weird stuff out here in the reeds, though. In armor? No. I mean, yes. Of course. I know he was wearing armor, but I don't know anything about it.
An infant could see he's not telling the truth, but he's too scared to admit more wrongdoing. There's something going on here. You should observe him more closely after this topic is concluded.
I hope I could help your investigation, in my small way.
Does this mean you were in his apartment, admiring his colonial mug collection? Perhaps it would be interesting to tell him.
Sure do, officer.
His eyes narrow slightly. He's wondering where this is going.
In my home. Yes. When I was going to... How did you know? Mr. Clare unlocked my apartment? So you work for Everard Clare? Officer, Please tell him we're good. No, tell him I'll make it up to him. What have I done? He'll send the muscle after me.
As he lowers his tone, he hunches his back.
I was probably talking too loud in the whirling the other night about some theories. Stupid. Shouldn't have run my mouth loud like that. I won't do it again. If there's anything I can do to assist you, or the Union, just ask, okay? I'll try to help if I can.
Hello. What can I do for you, officer? Okay. I already did my best to inform...
Layman, you always have to prove yourself with this man, which means you have to provide the cryptids. Maybe he'll answer.
A willow person. It's a long story. One non-specialist would find rather dull.
Willow people? Not at all.
They're not people, really. Some argue they aren't really animals, as they seem to have evolved directly from trees. They're very, very thin, almost flat in fact, and can camouflage themselves easily, wrapping themselves around trees and blending in with the tree bark. In that way, they're not too dissimilar from the phasmid we're looking for here. You probably have. Gary and I painted an entire grove's worth of trees in slow-drying paints. It was a bright lavender colour. I was hoping one of the willow people would get paint on it and not be able to camouflage itself. After waiting in hiding for hours, I saw a figure slip from one of the trees, a lavender shadow dashing through the grove. I chased it with a net. Not very elegant. You can't be elegant in the field. And, well, it was faster than me. I know it sounds like we were snacking on funny mushrooms, but I did see motion and colour. Mine is not a confirmed sighting of a cryptid, however. Much goes into verifying these things, and my account comes short of a few standards.
He makes it a real point here to sound falsifiable.
Formerly the most dangerous, yes. But do you know the most dangerous living cryptid?
He doesn't want to make it feel like you knowing it is some big deal.
The most dangerous cryptid is a carnivorous ruminant, known colloquially as the dread moose. Yes, the dread moose subsists entirely on flesh. It has even been known to dig up fresh graves in search of sustenance. Human remains have been found deep in the forest, torn apart, then trampled into the mulch by large hooves. Infer from that what you will. Just like an ordinary ardent moose. You can't. That's what makes it so dreadful and hard to identify.
A moose that looks like any other moose. What's going on here? He's kidding, right?
You're right to. The bodies found in the forest are just one piece of physical evidence. We also have sightings in Vasa, reaching back 4 centuries. In fact, we may be close to capturing a live specimen. Modern genetic methods may prove crucial in differentiating the dread variant from the herbivorous one. Anyway. That's impressive, I guess. But have you seen it with your own eyes? Of course you haven't. I haven't had a chance to travel to Coco Nor. No, and I likely never will. The Samaskill desert region has been embroiled in a small civil war for the last 8 years. I fear this mindless barbarism may have wiped out the elusive creature entirely. Sightings of towering luminosities have grown rare recently, while they once used to be constant.
Yes, sightings of mirages are constant. A mirage is a constant phenomenon that people have no time to report when a war is going on. It remains unclear what this has got to do with you seeing it, as he was inquiring before. He was just being defensive.
Everyone knows about that one, thanks to Professor Mijanu being the talk of the town for a time. Although, probably because her life ended as a result of her work in Gutler, no one remembers her contributions to the search for the Nongok. A flightless cursor owl found in the Seminine Isles. Its long legs permit the Nongok to run faster than any other avian, perhaps any other animal, who knows? When it's not hunting its prey in this manner, the Ock hangs from tree branches, like a bat, waiting to dive on hapless prey below on the jungle floor. Mijanu liked extreme animals, you see. One of the few figures of the academic establishment I respect. Really a shame she disappeared. Oh, decades ago. In the 30s. I didn't know her personally, of course. The chasm of academic pretension still stood before us, even though she had unusual courage for someone from the other side. Did he? That one's a hoax. Some Seraise rice farmers set fire to rhinoceros cadavers and use them to scare tourists. Many times. It always turns into an argument. I don't want to repeat it. The rhino holds a special place in his heart. Let it. Myths are part of my field. I doubt that. Once confirmed a hoax, so-called sightings of the rhino stopped soon. Was there anything else? No offense, officer, but I'm not much of a pedagogue. I don't know what I would have done if Lena hadn't persuaded me to go back to field research. You should ask her if you want interesting stories. Me? Not by all means. And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we finish with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morel. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Won't let Lena down? Sounds like the cryptozoologist's wife shares a special connection to the Phasmid somehow.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers. Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine.
Needless to say, you must ask her about the mysterious Phasmid.
Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian Phasmid together. I can't abandon course now. Good. A good quality to have, both for a police officer and an experimental zoologist.
I could go for some trap setting.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer. Caught the bug, I see. It's easier to get caught up in the search than you'd imagine. There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them, you should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry. Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week. Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask.
Finally, you're being sensible. I'll start packing right now.
No. No, of course not. Why? Well, he's been a little unenthusiastic about the trip. More so than usual. That's understandable. He just wants to get home and warm up.
He doesn't want to say it, but this is unusual. Gary's been to the jungle with him, to places way more challenging than the coast. Why so eager to go home?